Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today we are going to make the necklace to go with this stunning pendant from Bargain Bead Box's Seafoam Sunrise that we made on the live yesterday. So now we have to make our second part, which is the necklace. Now, this is sort of going to be on the fly, but not quite, because I know what I want it to do, but I haven't got it all set up yet. So let's turn down and we'll get to work. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take these two end pieces and these two, and they're going to come down here. Beads up. And they're going to go on either side, and we're going to put like a 3.5, 4-inch bead strand in here. It's probably going to be about 3. And it's going to be 3 bead strands. Maybe 3.5. We'll see what we decide when we get going. And that'll go on either. We're going to have 3 strands in here, and it'll go on either side. Then we're going to take some chain, and we're going to about 2 inches, and we're going to put this pendant in the middle, hanging from the chain. Then we'll have another little bead strand going up above that. So what we're got to do is decide on our bead strands. And now, because they're going to be close, we can't use big beads side by side. So let's do the middle strand first, so we have some idea of what we can do with the other sides. And what we're going to do is we got to take some small beads maybe we'll put this one first, and then we'll have some small beads going through here, because we don't want anything really close down here to be banging. Actually, maybe we'll take this one out. And then we'll have our big bead, and we'll see. Big bead. Well, first we're going to have a spacer in here. Then our big bead. And a lantern spacer, I think. And big bead, and this spacer down the other side. I'm doing this to get the other beads that I will need on the other side. And if I need more, I have a whole bunch down the side here. So here's this. And this. And then we'll want these same beads on this other side over here. And now we have to decide what's going to go in the center here. And I'm thinking we're going to go with one of these little guys. And then a ball spacer. The other side of this. And we have to decide if we're going to put anything more here in the middle here. Here. And I'm thinking we will. I'm thinking these little guys here, 2 of them. And I'm probably going to want something other than ball spacers, though these are all out of the kit, so maybe we will just leave ball spacers. But let's get some soft flex out. I've got the turquoise soft flex, and we're going to use it. And I'm going to just bead off of this for a while till we get some kind of idea of our length. So we will just start here. And I'm hoping that this little bead will take 2 lines, but I'm not sure it will. So if it doesn't, we're just going to have to cut it off. And the question is, do I want a ball spacer here as well? I think we'll not put it on. We'll see. You know, I'm going to put a ball spacer here with this one too. If we need to add more ball spacers, I've got some over here. Now, one thing we've got to ascertain is if this spot that I've done here is going to be big enough to put what I want on the other side on, which is going to be 3 crystals with ball spacers in between and the bead cap on the other side. And it may not be, because it looks pretty tight right there. Let's move this up some so we can see what we're talking about here. So because these are rondelles, they will be on their side, of course. Well, let's just sort of, we'll put them on the end here and just not let them slide down and compare lengths here. Now we probably are going to put about 1/8 to 1/4 inch difference in lengths between each of our bead strands, because we do want a little bit of drop from one strand to the next. So here is what we would get. Oh, we might be just perfect. So we're not going to worry about it. I think we've got it. So now we want another ball spacer. And now we have to ascertain its length. We got to measure it. We got to see if it's going to be that length that we want it to be. And if not, we're going to have to add a few beads. So I don't think it is. It looks like it might be, but I'm not sure. Actually, it's perfect because it's about 3.5. We're going to want the one on the other side to be a little shorter and the one on this side to be a little longer. So we are going to, well, I've got a lot more here than I wanted, so let's roll it up here. I want some so it's easier to maneuver my crimps, but now we'll cut this. And this is our middle strand. Now we're going to make another one of these middle strands for the other side. So much easier to do it now while it's here than to wait. So we'll go and do the other side's middle strand, which is going to be exactly alike. So we'll do it with one of these little guys. Nope, that's a ball spacer. There you are. Now we're going to start working on our one of the other strands. Whether I decide to go the short strand or the long strand, I don't know, but we will decide here in just a minute. Get a bead stopper on one side. Now what I want to do with this one, so we'll get one of these down here so we can compare as we work on it, is we've got to have 1, 2, 3 in the middle. There will be 3 in the middle of the other side as well. And then 3 in each side here, so that we have sort of like that. So that we have this, it's going to go into this hollow right here. And then we're going to have smaller beads through here. So we have to come up with some kind of an idea of what we want. Of course, we're going to put a bead cap on either side of these. Then we're going to have ball spacers. Probably another ball spacer here and here. But then we got to decide what beads we want to go now. I've got these little Amazonite. I've got some of the little bicones. We have these little, and we have our little gold pillows there. And I'm thinking what we're going to go start with is these guys. Ball spacer and then the bicone. Like so. You know, I'm going to cut this wire off because I know we're not going to want more than 1/4 inch longer than this one, so we can work from both ends that way, and I can get the middle done, and then we can decide where to go as far as the beads are concerned from there. And I think I want this pattern, the bicone, ball spacer, bicone, because it matches entirely up with what's at the front here on the pendant, as you can see. Sorry, I'm getting off screen, aren't I? Let's move up some so we can figure better what we're doing here. So anyway, we want that pattern right there. So we've got that on our right here. So then we'll go on come on, go through there. There we go. Now I could make this, the other side, almost identical to this side. Just take a little bit out so that it's a little shorter. And we put a little bit more in for this side, however we want to look at it. So there is this section. Oops, no, it's not quite done. I need these two, and then that'll be exactly what that one is. But we want this one, if this is the short one, about 1/4 inch shorter, and if it's the long one, we want it about 1/4 inch longer. So see how that's going to fit right in that spot right there? But as you can see, we still need, maybe we'll just put one of these in either side with a ball spacer. And then we'll see what we're sitting at then, because it might be the length we need for the shorter one. And like I say, we could just take the larger one and just add a few more beads to the ends to make those longer side. Now we need a little more still, because even though this goes here and it's pretty close and we've got little ones here, we still want that we still need that little bit more. So maybe another ball spacer and the little little star piece. So let's see. And if we didn't want the little star piece, one thing I haven't put on yet is some of these tiny Amazonites. So that might be better. So let's put a ball spacer and the tiny Amazonite on this side. And then we will measure both of these and see how close they are. Now I can tell you that two cords will not go through these tiny Amazonites, so I will have to cut my crimp up close. So now it might be too close of a size. Let's see. Okay, this one is at 3 and a little bit over 3.5. This one needs to be at about 3.5. It's again a little bit over, so it's about the same size in all actuality, maybe even a teeny touch bigger. So we need to lose something. Okay, it looks like we're going to go right at the ball spacer there. So, instead of the ball spacer though, I'm going to take this off and not have a spacer. Oh my gosh, I just pulled it all out. Dang it, Rose. So, let's restring, because you were a dork. Okay, so we are going to put this crystally guy on this end. Come on. Now this is exactly 3.5, and this one is just about 1/8 of an inch more, and that's what we want. So now let's cut the piece for the other side and make this one here for the other side. Then we'll need to make a top one, or this is the top one actually, because it's going to be closer in, and then we'll make a bottom one that is going to be similar to this, but because you know we have to have those smaller beads there, but we can add like one more bead on either side to add a little more oomph. So let's get some wire cut, and we'll do this one again. I think we've got more than we need right there, so we'll cut right here. Put a bead stopper on the one end and just make these like this. Okay, so we've got this little guy. Okay, comparing, make sure I've got everything the same. And now we have our second strands. These are our short strands, so these are actually the first, and the second will go like this. And then we'll need to make a third that goes over here, which is now going to be about 1/8 of an inch longer than this, the longer one, because now we want the short, long, short. We want the short, which is at 3.5, not quite 3.5. This one is 3 and about 3 and it's not 3 3/8, but it's about 3 3/8. So this is going to be the top strand in our bead strands, and then we'll have our second one, which will come down just a little bit, And then we'll put a third one in, which will come down a little bit more. So let's put this up, and we will design a third one. And we may need to get a few more beads out. It looks like we will, because if I go close to this one, we'll need a few more of the little Amazonites out, because that's only 4 here. But we do want to do the middle the same. So that'll go here with our bead caps. And this time we can have the ball spacer on the other side. And it looks like I'm going to need to get some ball spacers out for sure. And then we'll have, we can either do the pattern identical to this other one, and then with just a little bit more to it, or we can do something entirely different. I'm thinking we could put these little pillows right here on this side. And maybe a ball spacer, little amethyst, maybe even a couple of little amethysts. So that's a, and then another pillow, and one of these. With a bicone here. Well, we'll want a spacer, of course. And we'll see how long that's going to get to us too. Let's get some wire out and see what that looks like. There you. Now, I think we're going to obviously need more stuff over here on this side, but we're going to just see how this looks right now with what we've got. I think we'll put 2 pillows side by side. Two amethysts side by the little, well, not amethysts, amazonites, the little ones. Ball spacer. I think we'll go with 2 of these little pillows again. Ball spacer. I think maybe we don't need that there. We'll see. Oops, ball spacers, need ball spacers. Time to get some more ball spacers out. See, this will go right here. So we are going to need some more stuff over here on this side. That's all right. We'll figure it out as we go along here. Okay, now here's where we're at on the other side. So we do need to add about, oh, I don't know, half a dozen more beads. So let's start with a ball spacer. One of these rondelle amazonites, ball spacer. Get a bead stopper on this other side so we can put this on the other side and see how long we're getting. So this is now, oh, it's almost 4 inches, a little over 4 inches. So that's going to be too long. We want it to be, this one is a little over 3.5, not quite 3 3/4. So we want this to be closer to, we can take the ball spacer off of either side, and then we'll see where we're sitting at. If we take off too many more, we're going to be too big. So I'm too small. So I think we might be done at that. So let's see. I'm going to take one of each, and I'm going to hook them together in a bead stopper. So okay, I think it looks pretty good. So then it'll hang here from this, be a little wider than that because it obviously is. But now what we're going to do is we need to make our last strand for our other side. So let's put these all back together on their own bead stoppers. And we'll set them up here with the other stuff. Now we are going to have to get some more beads out, of course, for our second strand, our third strand, I should say, over here. So those are all going up there. This one will lock up here with this bead stopper. Come on, don't knock your bead stopper piece off. Okay, now this is what we're going to make though, so we have to get these beads that we need. We may need more than what we've got here. If we do, that's great, we'll get to them. But we need to cut one last piece of sufflex. So that's plenty long enough, maybe even longer than I need. Put that aside. Oh, I thought I had some more bead stoppers in here. Well, here's a tiny one. I will switch one of these biggers out for a tiny so that these are great, but I don't think they hold as well as the big ones. So the little one can go over there, and we'll put the big one on here to hold these beads as we get this strand started. So this goes with a ball spacer. And there we go. I think that's it. It looks like it is. see if I can find me another bead stopper. I'm not thinking I'm going to, so I'll just hook it around to this one. And what we're going to do now is sort of slide this to the side. We're probably going to use all this stuff for our, or at least part of it, for the little beaded part that dangles up, that goes up above this guy. So we'll get our crimp tubes out. And we're going to start putting this baby together. Now we've got our first crimp on here, and I've got it in place, so I'm going to crimp it and then turn, crimp, turn, crimp, and it's on pretty good. Now the ball spacer's the only one that'll go over. The little one will not. See, she won't. So we're going to slide the ball spacer all the way up. Then we're going to bring our flush cutters and bring it all the way up there and trim it off. So there is number 1 on. That's the bottom one on the top piece, or the bottom piece, whichever we want to use it as. So now we need to grab one of the middle ones, and we'll take its crimp off. Get out of the way so you don't get banged around too much. We'll put a crimp on it. Go through our middle strand here, bring it up and over, and through our crimp tube. Now, I'm not sure we'll go through that other bead or not. We'll check it here after I get it to go through the crimp. If it doesn't, then we're going to have to crimp it right off at the crimp. Cut it right off at the crimp after we get it crimped. And we'll see how that goes. Are you going to go through there, baby? It says no. So we'll get this up here to about the same spot it is on the other side there, this one here. Make sure our lines aren't crossed, and then we're going to crimp that one in place. Get over here. Now we'll take our flush cutters, run it up right to the crimp tube, and snap it off. So now this one is in place. Now this one is rolling, so we got to be careful of that when we put them on the other side, that they don't continue to roll like that onto each other. But see how that's laying right there? So now we'll get our last one, which is this one. Take its bead stopper off and put its crimp tube on. Then we're going to make sure these are not tangled up here, which that one is. Go through here, bring her down, and we already ascertained that this bead will not take the strand. The second line. We already checked that with the one before it because it's the same ending bead. But we will try it again. It says no. So we want to slide you up. Slide you up a little bit more. Okay, that looks like it's about the same as everybody else. So we get our crimped pliers in there and crimp. Okay, and now we again slide our flush cutters right up to our crimp and off it goes. So that is our last section going on. this side. Now when you go to put the other side on, watch these up here because they're going to try and roll around on you. And you don't want them to do that because that will cause severe problems. So now we can either put the other side, put the other one on the first side, or these sides onto the other side, or we can finish up this one. So I think we'll just finish up this one and then we'll go to those afterwards. I'm going to switch this tiny bead stopper though for one of the bigger, stronger ones. I don't want to take a chance of dropping them off. And like I say, we'll roll these up out of the way because they are going to be for our little one, our little loop that goes from here to here, so that the chain can go like so. So let's get one of these down, and we're going to start putting the other side together. And I'm going to need to get some more crimp beads out, but we'll worry about that in a minute. So we'll start with the inner one here. We'll put our crimp bead on. Now make sure it's straight and go up and through, going in the direction that you want it to be. So now we go through the bead, or I should say the tube, the crimp tube. Roll it up, and now we're going to pull this up pretty tight because we're on our last thing to do here. So come on, you. Don't give me that flack. Pull up. Okay. Now it's going the same direction. We can see that. And we do have some flack here, but we're going to have some because otherwise your crimp will get in your way. So let's make sure again she's safe. She is. And then we'll get in here and we'll crimp this baby. Tag. And then we're going to slide our flush cutters right up till it hits that crimp bead. Make sure you're as close as you can get and then clean that off. And I don't really think I was as close as I could get because I have more of a little tail there than I like. So we'll see if I can get in and get that trimmed off some more. That's better. Okay. Now we have row 1 all done. Isn't that pretty? So now we got to make sure that it's not turned up here. It's not. This little thing keeps coming off. It's irritating me. We'll put that aside, get our crimp tube out, slide it on. And now we're going to, again, make sure that these are all straight before I go into here. So they are, so we'll go in. Come around and go into our crimp bead, or tube, I should say. A magical crimper will only take a 2x2 crimp. Tube. So make sure we're good here. We still are, though this is trying to turn just a little bit right here. We want to make sure it doesn't do that. Okay. Okay, we all seem to be good. So now we're going to crimp this. Oops, I went down. Slide down to the end here. Okay. Now we have our third one to put on. Okay, stop twisting up, you guys. Okay, that's looking a little longer, which is weird because we got them all right this first time, but we measured them all, but that's all right. Now we want this one on. Stop it. Now the last one goes on right here. Come on, you, go through. Come on, you. Okay, that's looking pretty good, so we'll crimp this one. And trim it off. So there is the one side, and you're going weird. And now we just have to hook the rest of them up to the other side, and it will be exactly that we do it exactly the same way we did this side with 1, 2, 3. So let's get some more crimping pieces out here. Looks like we're going to need some more. I only have, looks like 5, and we need 6, so we'll need to find some more here in a minute. But in the meantime, let's get started putting this baby together. So we only need one piece to start with. This is the top piece. I've cut a little piece of chain that will go from the pendant to here, and we'll do those with the jump rings. Got a couple of jump rings here to do that. And the other thing we want to do now is put another little piece of soft flex through here. Wonder if this one's long enough. Yeah, it could be. And we're going to crimp it to this side, then we're going to decide what kind of a strand we're going to put up above. And this will hang down below. Then we'll put some chain up the back to finish it up. So let's hook this baby on. Let's just a short piece, but it should be big enough for what I want. So we're just going to hook this guy on, or gal, whichever you want to call it. And it needs to be mobile, so let's make sure I haven't gotten it too tight. It looks all right. So then we're going to crimp it here. And I am going to start this with, I think, one of the Amazonites, because they'll probably go over the cable. Yep, they do. And then one of the... So there is where we're starting at. And I think we'll go to... two of the little pillows, I think. Go with the bluer one. Trying to decide if I want it just a touch longer, since these are going to come together, and then the pendant is going to go and hang from here and here. And I think that's probably good because we don't want it too horribly long. So now we will put the other crimp in the other side, go through our, and crimp it over here. Okay, that's about the same size. So we'll get our crimpers in here, and we want to center that. Squoosh, and it didn't center. So now we have to shove it down. Let's see if we can't get it to center a little better. There we go. Now I'm going to cut this excess wire off, and I'm going to crimp that a little better. Now I'm not worried about a little bit of a tail here because I can tuck it down into my bead beside it. That looks better already. So there we go. There are two pieces hooked together here. This is... But now we need to put our chain on, and with the chain will be our pendant. So we'll open up our two jump rings. Don't need these tools anymore, so I'm just putting them away. So we'll open up one jump ring, put it through one end of the chain, and then through the loop where our piece is here. Now we want to make sure it's the bottom side, not the top side, when we put our ring in, because we want to make sure we're not making our chain try to go above our pretty bead strand. So So there's that. Stop trying to curl up, you silly one. Now we have to put it through our pendant again because it slid out, of course. There it is in the pendant. So now we'll get our other jump ring. Oh, we got it upside down. Open her up, go through the chain. And then, like I say, the bottom here. We do not want it to go on the other side of the sufflex. So now we go, close this baby up, good. And now that piece is all done. Hang properly, would you? Something's twisted here. There we go. So now it hangs like so. Isn't that pretty? Oh, you can't really see the pendant piece on it. There we go. Now I'm going to put these pieces away. Then we just have to decide how long we want it, cut the chain for the back, and put its lobster claw on the back part. So we're at about 12 inches here. And so I think we're going to add about 10 inches of chain, maybe a little less, so we'll get 2 5-inch pieces, or whatever it comes to when I decide. Actually, I think I'm only going to go to 4.5-inch pieces because we have about 1 inch for our lobster claw and such. So let's get another piece out about the same length. And to do what I'm doing right here, you can use your what I'm using is my bead reamer, but you could use your awl, or you could even just use a piece of wire. So right here. So there's our 2 pieces of chain. Oh, I didn't get enough jump rings out to attach this to the top here, so I'm going to have to do that. Get 2 more of these out. That's 4 rows, not 2. So we'll get our, don't need those anymore. We'll just open up our jump rings. Put 1 piece of chain on. Now while I've got this piece of chain out, I might as well hook the lobster claw to this side. Now, if you wanted it longer, you could put extender chain right here now. Now we'll hook the other side up. And put the last jump ring on here. There we go. And we are done. So there is our beautiful necklace, all finished. Isn't that pretty? I think it turned out quite nicely. And oh, there is our finished necklace using our Seafoam Sunrise bargain bead box. And I have some of the beads in here from the companion bundle. But this will hang like, let me back up a little bit, like so. I'm not going to bother to actually put it on, but that's how it will hang, like so. Isn't it pretty? So anyway, this beautiful necklace was made using our Sunrise Seafoam bead mix from Bargain Bead Box and a few of the companion bundle beads. If you didn't see me make the pendant, I did that on my live on Tuesday morning. So if you want to go and re-see that, you can see that. So there we go. There she is, all finished. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.